Welcome to Catholic Mom Mindset, a daily show where you learn to walk closely with the Holy Spirit so you can live the life God is calling you to. I'm your host, Sterling Jaquith. Let us begin. Talk about better planning for the holidays and really any occasion, whether it's a birthday that you're hosting or one of the major holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, 4th of July. I find that as moms, we tend to think about the food and cleaning. Those are the two things we think about. We think about the food and the cleaning. And a lot of you actually just allow that list to float around in your mind. It's just kind of this nebulous thing where you're always chewing on it and it kind of weighs you down. So it's like a flurry of activity in your mind and then a heaviness. And you think you're planning. You're like, oh, I'm planning. But I want you instead to consider, first of all, writing what's in your head on a piece of paper or on a note on your phone, right? You can, like most phones have a note app. You can open it up and just put your notes there. Because what I want you to plan is how you want to feel. I want you to be feeling planners. Okay? And then the first feeling I want you to think about is the predominant feeling that you want to have leading up to the event. And so if you haven't written your plan down and you haven't thought about how you want to feel, and it's just rattling around in your mind, you're probably going to be feeling overwhelmed and a little bit of panic or fear because you don't want to forget something. So you're like, oh, I hope I remember that. And then the second one is overwhelmed because there's all this stuff kind of rattling around. But you're an adult, my friend. You can spend 5 minutes writing it down on a piece of paper. I want you to write down what you want to cook. I want you to write down what you want to clean. When I host a major event, I always pop up and want weird things done in my house. Because my family thinks when I say, oh, we're going to clean, it just means like wiping down the counters and sweeping and making sure the bathrooms aren't gross, right? Like they think that's what cleaning is. But for a major event, that's when I'm like, oh, I mean, we're going to wipe down all of the kitchen cupboards and the baseboards. And I want to hang this art that you didn't even know about. And now is a really good time to completely reorganize the entryway where we take off our shoes. Right? Like usually there are a couple things that are going to bubble to the surface, unusual things that I'm going to want to get done. And that's not a problem if you're ahead of it. But if it's all just living in your mind and you're not communicating it clearly to yourself or to the people around you, your predominant feelings are going to be stress and overwhelm and panic. And then maybe frustration and abandonment, okay? Because then you'll just have this idea, no one is helping me. Nobody cares about this as much as I do, which, by the way, is true. No one cares about it as much as you do. Your husband is not stressed about holiday planning. And so that right there is where I want you to consider feelings planning. How do you want to feel leading up to this event? How do you want to feel the day before and the morning before? I think one of the interesting things, particularly about Thanksgiving, is it's this dinner, but we don't usually rigorously plan what happens before it. Some families do. Some families have a tradition of like doing a turkey trot race or football or something like that. So for some of you, you have that. But for us, we don't. And we've tried doing the 5K race here, but I don't know, last year it was really rainy and it was very unpleasant and none of our friends went. So it was just kind of a wah-wah experience. This year there might be snow, so we might do tubing and that might be fun. But just really thinking, how do you want to wake up feeling on the day? Are you going to make yourself coffee? What are you going to wear? What can you prepare ahead of time so that the day of feels a little bit better? How can you communicate to your family what you think the day is going to look like? And so really thinking about how you want to feel. Be feeling planners for any holiday event. It's surprising when I ask my clients how they want to feel. They say very different things. So there's no right combination of feelings that you want to have. They're going to be personal for you. And for me, one of the feelings I really like is focus or intentionality. So it's not always like peace or joy or happiness, right? I'm going to be in a working mode, and I like being in a working mode. But I like having focus instead of feeling scattered. I like being intentional instead of being confused. My brain loves to pretend to be confused. Well, I don't know what we should do. I don't know what we should make. Right? It loves that. And then it gets me to just sit in inaction, which it thinks is safer. So once you take out a piece of paper, I want you to plan the top 3 feelings that you want to have. And you could have different feelings leading up to the event and the day of the event. So you have 2 different sets if you wanted. And then I want you to make that list of food, things you want to clean, any other activities. Like really just what else, brain? What else do we need to think about? What else do we need to plan? Okay, do you have to get your dog groomed? Do you have to clean out the garage so you can park one of your cars in the garage so there's more space in the driveway? There's all these random things that occur to us around holiday time. Then I want you to go through the list and really ask yourself, do I have to do that? Do I have to do that? This year, my husband has this really amazing homemade pumpkin pie recipe, and he loves making them. But it's been kind of a busy year for hunting and some other things. And so I said to him this year, I said, hey, I would be totally fine if you just bought one of those Costco pies. I'm like, I don't care. And he was like, you know what? I am going to do that. And he just did that. And we're focusing on other things. The plumbing is ripped up in our house right now. And it was just a good decision for us this year. So I want you to go through your list and go, do I have to do this? Why am I doing this? And I'll probably hand cut Brussels sprouts and roast them, which takes a long time and isn't necessary, but I love them. I want to do that. So what are the feelings you want to feel? Write down the food and the cleaning and the activities, and then go through all of them and say, do I really have to do that? And then just plan the Thanksgiving that you want to have and control how you show up. Control what you're thinking about so you can be in the feeling state that you want. And if you don't know how to do that, come join me in Masters. I'll teach you how to do that. It'll change your whole life, knowing how to feel things on purpose. All right, you guys, I love you. Have a blessed day. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Catholic Mom Mindset. To learn more about growing closer to the Holy Spirit, check out our free resources at madeforgreatness.co. Thank you so much for listening, and have a blessed day.